Imagine waking up tomorrow morning to discover that half of all Canadian jobs have vanished overnight. Not because of a recession, not because of a pandemic, but because artificial intelligence has just rendered 9.5 million people obsolete. Sound impossible? Geoffrey Hinton, the so-called godfather of AI, warns this isn't science fiction anymore, it's our approaching reality. What would actually happen to Canada if this AI job apocalypse hit us tomorrow? The evidence. Here's what we know from the data, and it's more terrifying than you might think. According to a 2023 report from the Bank of Canada, approximately 40-50% of current jobs face high exposure to AI automation within the next decade. We're not talking about just factory workers anymore, we're talking about accountants, radiologists, legal assistants, and even content creators like myself. The numbers are staggering. A study published in the Journal of Economic Perspectives found that AI could automate tasks representing 25% of work hours across the entire economy. But here's the kicker: Geoffrey Hinton, who literally helped create the neural networks powering today's AI revolution, told CBS News that AI will eliminate most intellectually mundane jobs within the next 20 years. And it's already happening. Amazon's CEO recently announced they're expecting significant headcount reductions due to AI adoption. Goldman Sachs estimates 300 million jobs globally could be automated away. In Canada specifically, Statistics Canada data shows that jobs requiring routine cognitive tasks, think data entry, basic analysis, customer service, are disappearing at an accelerating rate. But what if this process, instead of taking 20 years, happened overnight? Picture this: tomorrow morning, 9.5 million Canadians wake up to find their jobs have been replaced by algorithms. The immediate chaos would be unprecedented. Within hours, Canada's unemployment rate would skyrocket from 5% to over 50%. That's not just an economic disaster, that's societal collapse territory. The last time unemployment hit even 12% during the 1930s Great Depression, it triggered massive social upheaval. Toronto's financial district would become a ghost town. Thousands of analysts, accountants, and administrative workers would find their keycards deactivated, their desks cleared out by security algorithms that processed their termination faster than any human HR department ever could. Hospitals would face a bizarre paradox: AI systems could now read X-rays more accurately than most radiologists, but who would explain the results to terrified patients? Legal firms would find their junior associates replaced by AI that could review contracts in seconds, but court systems would be clogged with unprecedented numbers of wrongful termination lawsuits. The ripple effects would be devastating. When half the population loses their income simultaneously, consumer spending doesn't just decline, it collapses. Restaurants, retail stores, entertainment venues, all would face immediate bankruptcy as their customer base evaporates overnight. Exploring the contrasting perspective. But wait, am I painting an unfairly apocalyptic picture here? Critics of the AI job apocalypse narrative point to historical precedent. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report argues that while AI will eliminate certain roles, it will create entirely new categories of employment. They cite the Industrial Revolution, which initially destroyed agricultural jobs but ultimately created more prosperity and employment opportunities. Professor Erik Brynjolfsson from Stanford's Human-Centered AI Institute makes a compelling case that we're focusing too much on job destruction and not enough on job transformation. His research, published in the Quarterly Journal of Economics, shows that most jobs won't be completely automated. Instead, AI will augment human capabilities, making workers more productive rather than redundant. Some economists argue that Canada's strong social safety net and educational infrastructure make us uniquely positioned to weather AI disruption. A 2024 report from the Conference Board of Canada suggests that our universal healthcare, employment insurance, and retraining programs could cushion the blow of AI-driven job displacement. There's also the creation side of the equation. AI specialists, prompt engineers, AI ethicists, human AI collaboration managers, these weren't job categories that existed 5 years ago, yet they're among the fastest-growing professions today. The Canadian government has already announced $2.4 billion in AI investment, potentially creating hundreds of thousands of new positions. But here's the critical question: could these new jobs be created fast enough to absorb 9.5 million displaced workers overnight? The honest answer? Probably not. Finding the deeper truth. The reality is likely somewhere between complete catastrophe and seamless transition. But exploring this extreme scenario reveals something crucial about our economic vulnerability that we need to address now. before it's too late. You see, the real issue isn't just about jobs disappearing, it's about the speed of change. Human societies can adapt to almost anything, but we need time. The Industrial Revolution unfolded over generations. The digital revolution took decades. But AI is improving exponentially, not linearly. Consider this. GPT-3 was revolutionary in 2020. GPT-4 made it look primitive just 3 years later. Now we have AI systems that can code, create art, analyze legal documents, and even conduct research. The acceleration is unlike anything in human history. In our hypothetical overnight scenario, Canada would likely implement emergency measures. Universal basic income wouldn't be a policy debate anymore, it would be a survival necessity. The federal government would probably invoke emergency powers similar to what we saw during COVID-19, but on a much larger scale. We'd see the emergence of human premium services, restaurants advertising cooked by real humans, lawyers marketing genuine human judgment, and teachers emphasizing authentic human connection. Some people would pay extra for the human touch, creating niche employment opportunities. Community-based economies might flourish. With traditional employment structures collapsed, we might see a return to more localized, cooperative economic models. Neighborhood skill-sharing networks, community gardens, and local currencies could become survival mechanisms that eventually evolve into permanent alternatives. But here's what gives me hope. Humans are remarkably adaptable. We've survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and technological revolutions. We always find ways to create meaning and value even when our old definitions become obsolete. The key insight from our thought experiment isn't that we should fear AI, it's that we need to prepare for change that's coming faster than ever before. The Canadians who thrive in an AI-dominated world won't be those who resist the technology, but those who learn to dance with it. The bigger questions. So let me ask you something that's been keeping me up at night. What if we're asking the wrong question entirely? Instead of what jobs will AI take, maybe we should be asking what does it mean to be human in an age when machines can think? For the past century, we've defined human worth largely through productivity and employment. But what happens when artificial minds can outproduce us in almost every cognitive task? Do we need to completely reimagine what gives life meaning and purpose? And here's an even deeper question. If AI can handle all the intellectually mundane work, could that actually liberate us to pursue more creative, meaningful, and uniquely human endeavors? What if instead of an apocalypse, this is the beginning of a renaissance? Think about your own job right now. How much of your day is spent on tasks that you find genuinely fulfilling versus tasks that are just necessary? What if AI could handle all the necessary stuff, freeing you to focus on what actually matters to you? But here's what I want you to consider. Are we preparing for this future, or are we just hoping it won't happen? Because whether it takes 20 years or happens overnight, change is coming. The question isn't if, it's how we choose to respond. So tell me in the comments, if you knew your current job would be automated in 5 years, what would you start learning today? And more importantly, what uniquely human skills do you think will always be irreplaceable? Because understanding that might just be the key to not just surviving, but thriving in our AI-transformed future. The future is coming faster than we think, but it's not happening to us. It's being shaped by the choices we make today. And that's something no AI can take away from us.